All right, guys. Welcome to the Ishake podcast. I interrupted him.
I interrupted him.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's great. I always want to say Ishake Adventures podcast, but the Ishake podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got a good episode hopefully coming. We think.
I try and think of the number every single time.
Yeah.
I just don't remember anymore.
Yeah. I don't know what episode this is, but
we're gonna need to get on top of that.
Maybe. I don't know. It kind of works. They're different titles.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's counting the episode. But, yeah, thank you to our 22 subscribers.
Yes, we love it.
And I think we're at 157 on the Ishake Adventures channel.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, I checked this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you are here, thank you. You're one of our true followers, absolutely.
Yep.
If you're also subscribed to the Ishake Adventures, because then they found us from that most likely, or you're
or you just follow us on Instagram
or you're one of the folks.
Yep.
So, thank you. I don't know how many people watch this. I don't really look at the views on these.
No, we have almost like 200 on the past 3.
Seriously?
Yeah, last week's one didn't do too well, but we're getting okay amount of views for a channel we're not really trying at.
Yeah. We're honestly just filming these on a whim.
Yeah.
Like, we just save up stories from our past week, and then we're just like, let's do a podcast. Let's do it.
Yep. And we do it.
Whenever we have the time.
But, yeah. Ishake Adventures is growing. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait till we're at 1,000.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, we're building slowly now, but honestly, we've come a lot further than I thought we would at this pace. I think we said that a couple times before,
at this time, for sure.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Alright, I'm just going to say my 2 stories already that I have.
Shoot into it.
So, both of these happened.
Jason's story time.
Well, these stories only came from today.
Okay.
Because I was talking to my parents.
Yeah.
So these are stories from the Zoom call. But my mom was like, have you guys had any fights yet? And I was like, no. And she was like, when was your last fight? And I was like, I don't know, probably 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And then
seriously,
I thought about it. And the last, minor, I wouldn't call out one night in Hawaii an altercation, because that was kind of just me yelling at you. You weren't really fighting back at all.
That was a lot.
Yeah. But I think the last fight was in Hawaii, because I tried to wake you up to go to church, and I poured water on you, and then you yelled at me, and I was like, fuck you then, and I walked out. But,
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
That was it. That was the last thing I can remember of any form.
I hardly remember that.
Yeah, that wasn't even an altercation, really.
Yeah.
It was 2 things, and then I went to church and came back, and everything was good.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Even, when you cuss each other out and you feel like you have a bad fight, it's just, as soon as you reconnect, it's just ah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing ever happens. We're not ever fighting.
Mm-mm. We're just
on the same page most of the time.
Yeah, honestly, 99% of the time.
Yep.
And the thing that we disagree about is
small, stupid things.
Either UFC related or I don't know, football once we get into it, because you're such a diehard Vikings fan. I'm just okay, but I don't watch football anymore. So yeah, it's just literally tiny things, and that's it.
Yeah, we never have disconnects where I block you for months.
Literally, honestly, the months that I don't know, what's it called? In Honduras, we didn't talk. We talked maybe once or twice.
We talked maybe twice a month.
We texted
maybe
every
it was, and it was always business.
Yeah,
it was always
yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. I'm with guys, if we ever call to check up on each other, it is just business. We don't check up on each other.
No,
we do not check up on each other. We just, when we call, it's okay, I gotta get something straight real quick.
Yeah.
And it's always I don't know, what kind of business would you say that we just call about?
I called you once because a fish tank was crashing and I needed help.
Yep, I do remember that actually.
Yeah. And then I think the other times were just about the move to Australia and the podcast and everything like that.
Absolutely.
We decided to tell our parents about the podcast and that it would be a little less kid-friendly in Hawaii. And we sent them a box that night.
Yeah. I don't think they understood how...
No, I don't think they watched it. I think after the first one, they were like, all right, we're done with this.
No, I think they watched it maybe the first 2 or 3.
Really?
But it's just... We're keeping it consistent with every single week, and we're from like an hour and a half.
It's 3 videos a week, and I mean, 30 minutes on your Shake Adventures. If you're watching the shorts, it's a good hour and a half.
Yeah, which I know.
It's probably actually an hour because they're only 60 seconds. But and then you have to watch the podcast, which is 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're watching everything, brava.
We love you guys.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was always something to do with where we're at now. Mm-hmm. And even now, if I text them at work, it's purely because I need something.
Yeah.
It's how guys roll.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said, the only times we talked was getting ready for Australia. And yeah, you started getting your fish tanks when I was in Honduras, at least in the Hawaii house.
Yeah. And I maybe texted you a couple times when I was drunk.
I did get a good amount of Snapchat videos.
Yeah. But those weren't conversations.
No. It was just like what he was doing right now and the fact that it was insane.
And it was usually because I was listening to G-Eazy. So I was like, alright.
I have like an 8-minute clip. I watched it all and then I replayed every single snap. It was like 12.
Is that when I was just rapping to his songs?
Yes. It is like an 8-minute long clip of you just going absolutely nuts on G-Eazy. And it is one of my favorite. I watch it like almost weekly. It's the best. Not almost weekly, but like twice every month, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I woke up and I was like...
Oh, it's the best.
It's a great video. It's a
good.
great video.
Yeah. So I got a lot of those, but that was it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't catch up.
Mm-mm.
Like,
I kind of find out what's going on whenever I would go back to Denver.
Yeah, exactly. We just catch up whenever we were in person.
Yeah.
We know there will be that next time.
Yeah, and it's so much easier that way.
That did help a lot.
Yeah.
But, it's just, we're kicking since day 1.
Yeah. I was never worried.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I guess we did have a plan, though.
Yeah, we always had a plan.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you women should be like guys. I'm just kidding. That came off really bad.
Wow.
But you guys are really petty about your little girl fights. It's very true. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just leave the room for 30 minutes and just forget about it. And your life will be so much easier. And I'm not going to be going to a therapist in 10 years. Be like, this one time they handcuffed me and it's been rocking me to my core ever since. No, it's not that big of an issue. They're small things. Get over it. Okay, that's my rant. What was the last?
I'm not going to say facts, because at least one of us won't get canceled. But yeah, no. A lot of people take it to heart. Mm-hmm. It's not that serious.
It's not that deep.
It is not that serious, guys. Like, just never forget.
Yeah, exactly.
It can only be said about a lot of situations, though.
Yeah,
but
your best friend fights, forget about it.
Yeah, y'all rocking. So just go along with it.
Yes.
It's okay.
Braden's rich.
I wasn't gonna say it, but alright, next topic. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Next.
I asked my parents when they were gonna move into the remodeled house.
Mm-hmm.
No, it could be a couple weeks, and I was like, why? My mom was like, I'll let Dad tell you. He left the sink on for 45 minutes on accident. And so the water overflowed because he plugged it to wash dishes and flooded the house, and it seeped through the floorboards and into Jaden's room. So they had to rip up the carpet in Jaden's room and cut holes in the ceiling to replace all of that.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We love you, Josh.
So that was fun to hear. But, yeah, that's how...
You're an ass. You're an ass.
That sounds so bad. But they should be moving in 2 weeks.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Wow. So close. So close.
So close. It's so far away.
Yeah. He still needs to send us a picture. Has he gotten that couch in yet?
I don't think so. I think that comes in a couple months. If you're watching, Dad, comment when you get your couch in. Everybody's wondering.
I want to see a picture. I've been saying this since we had
Yeah.
poker night in there. It was amazing.
Yep. And when I go back, I'm going to have another poker night. Dad, start planning it.
When are you going back?
Probably July.
Are you going back for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Probably Christmas.
Okay, me too.
Yeah. So we'll probably get a good poker night in, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be down for that. Oh, poker night's just so much fun.
Poker
We gotta
nights
go
are great.
bowling. We need to go bowling. There's a bowling alley right by our baby land.
There is.
Inside joke. It's right there, dude. Every time we go, I'm just like, oh, we need to go bowling.
Ever since that night with it, like MC and Molly and Lizzie
Yes.
and all of them.
Dude, I got the spin down. Literally,
Uh-huh.
it's so easy.
Uh-huh.
Come in
I'm sure.
and spin it.
I'm sure.
Bro, I got a nice strike with it. Oh, no, I got a 9
You got
on it.
one strike.
I got
out
a
of
9 on it, okay. On the spin, I was getting a couple strikes that night, but still.
After 2 games.
That's why I'm saying we need to go. MC and Louise cannot show me up again like that.
That's true. Alright. So we're going to go bowling at some point.
We're going bowling.
Whenever I start to get paid. Which brings me to my point.
I got paid.
Yeah, I know. You're
Oh
lucky.
my God.
Lucky. My mom was like, are you jealous of Peyton? And I was like, no. She was like, is Peyton jealous of you getting in with reptile people? And I was like, listen, I think he's jealous that I get to spend all of my time with animals, but I'm jealous that he's actually making money. Because I'm sitting here.
There's a plus to both sides.
Yeah, there's a
but
pros and cons.
Yeah, I need to get in with the fish shop. Like, I need to actually, like, work with fish, because right now I'm working with people.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So, I was telling my parents how the best thing about working as a dive instructor is being able to, so the whole, like, sort of, like, physique of diving and being an instructor is that we're not in the entertainment business, we're in the transformation business.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my parents that it's something my course director, Nick DeRoder, said to me. I just always remember like that line. Out of anything out of my IDC course, I just remember that. And the best thing about being an instructor is able to transform somebody's mindset from being absolutely terrified into a pool
Mm-hmm.
to flying down in the middle of the ocean.
Yep.
Like, and just being totally comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like some people, they'll be terrified to just take off their mask in, you know, like a meter or 2 of water. And, you know, as soon as they take off that mask, they shoot to the surface and they're just like, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then seeing them transform into the fact that they can just swim with sharks and gigantic fish and just be down at depths, you know, places that they never thought they would be.
Yeah.
You know, however long ago. So that's the coolest part. The worst part, the absolute worst part is it's not the bad students that you gotta save. It's not the complaining students that you have to deal with. And it's not the long hours. It's the fact when you see something so freaking cool underwater, dude, and you don't get to freak out about it because you're like brand new students, don't know how rare that
Mm-hmm.
is. You just have to like play along and, you know, like bite into their interests and swim along. Like, so for example, I think I might have told you about the cuttlefish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we were going along this, I don't know if I said it on a podcast either, but yeah, we saw this gigantic cuttlefish, literally like as big as my torso. So it's a common reef cuttlefish. It was about as big as my torso. I was chilling on this like piece of boulder coral, and we saw it change color, we saw it change texture, and then it just swam off. Like, I wanted to go swim with that thing for the rest of the dive.
Yeah.
Like, just follow it at a decent pace to where it wouldn't, like, freak out and swim away. But, you know, I saw all my students, and, you know, they were kind of, like, looking on. After, like, 30 seconds of me looking at it, I was like, wow. I was like, cuttlefish. I was like, over there. Cuttlefish or squid, I guess the same thing. But yeah, they just want to swim on. I was like, and then on my navigation dive, on my adventure course, so I was doing squares, so not adventure course, advanced course. So I get 5 dives with the advanced course: deep, night, peak performance, buoyancy, navigation, and fish identification. So on the navigation dive, I had 7 students, and that's really hard to do with just one instructor. Luckily, I had 2, but they have to do like a compass reciprocal and then a compass square. So basically, just some basic navigation skills. And it was a lot with 7 students because it takes somebody a solid 3 or 4 minutes to do that square. Yeah. So we just run out of time, and each student has to do it. So when I was going on like my 3rd or 4th square, I was coming through this little pass, and I was like kind of coming through a little like sand valley, and right out of this little like side coral, I see like something peek out, and I thought it was like a little like rock hind grouper or something like that. There's not rock hinds, but one of like, you know, the type of groupers that stay on the rocks, or something like that. And then sure enough, like I would say about that big of a mantis shrimp just scurries by across the sand, and like I saw it from, like, I would say like I was floating about here, so think of it like depth. I'm about here to the end of your chair is about where it was, and I saw it scuttle across the sand. But my students were doing their compass navigation, and like I just like try to go down and look at it, but by then they were getting a good amount of distance away, so I was like, I can't. Like, I wanted to stay looking at that thing for the next, like, you know, 15-20 minutes if I could find it, but, you know, they were doing skills. They had to get the rest of these skills done. So that's the hardest part about being an instructor, is having to give up cool things, because I'm still a fish nut at heart. No matter what, like,
of course,
whatever, like, title of occupancy I am, I'm a fish nut. Like, that's number 1, so I just have to put my payroll in front of that, which sucks. So badly sometimes. Like, all the nudibranchs I find, I see one on almost every other dive. Dude.
Really?
Dude, it's ridiculous. I've seen, like, I would say total of like 10 total nudibranchs in these past 2
And they're
trips.
big here, right?
Dude, I was doing a Discover Scuba Diving course, so it's basically where somebody who doesn't do any of the hard work like an open water student would do, so they don't have to do like any of the like knowledge review, they don't have to do the skills in the pool or anything like that. They can just sign up, and basically we just run them through
the basics.
The basics, like clearing your mask, like what the things are on your BCD, like inflating, deflating, pulling your valves, but they don't even really need that to even know that. Yeah. Because we're literally hanging on the back of their tank. So like the student would be right here, their tank would be right about here, and we're holding onto their tank and basically swimming right on top of them and like sort of guiding them throughout the dive site. So, and the reason you're on top of them is because whether you can just basically all the things that you need to do as a normal diver, but now you're just sort of like moving as 2. So you need to be like inflating and deflating for them. You need to be like asking if they're okay, making sure that they're keeping their buoyancy right, and basically just looking out for everything, but you're literally just holding on to them. And yeah, it's only like a 1 dive sort of thing. That's why it's called Discover Scuba Diving. Discover Scuba Diving. It's just so they can like check it out, you know. And on that Discover Scuba Diving experience, I only had 1 people, but some like very experienced.
1 people?
Jeez. 1 person. I'm sorry, I also worked today. I was in the pool all day today, bro. You don't know how tired that makes you. But whatever. So I had 1 people, and like some very experienced instructors can have
2?
like up to like 2 or 3.
Whoa. Straddle one with your legs and hold on to the other two.
We're just kind of like looking out for all of them, but I'm not entirely sure what the PADI standards are on that. I don't know if you can have 4. I don't even know if you can have 3, but still, whatever. But on this Discover Scuba Diving course, I was taking around just this one dude, and we saw 2 nudibranchs, literally like the size of that. Like, absolutely.
And did he know what they were
massive.
or no?
I tried to point it out. No, he didn't. Because I told him on the surface, I was like, you know what those things were in the sand? I was like, because that's my sign for nudibranch.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the 2 rhinophores that stay on top of their head, their exposed gills. So that's my sign for nudibranch. I was like, nudibranch, look like over his shoulder. And then sure enough, we saw one just maybe like 2 or 3 feet over in the sand. And they were both like that big. They were black, blue, and orange.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. Gorgeous. It was like a... Yeah, dude. It was amazing.
And you probably thought they were corals.
No, he definitely, like, checked them out for a while.
Oh.
Like, you know, you see coral, but those things were, like, just, like, in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they weren't the sea cucumbers that we see absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
They are ridiculous here, dude. Like, they have absolutely no predators.
No,
I don't
and they're huge.
Yeah,
they're the biggest
massive,
sea cucumbers I've ever seen. Yeah.
Like, big old... I don't even want to say what kind of... That's like elephant poo.
Yeah.
Like boom.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen a couple shooting their stuff. So yeah, it looks really bad because when sea cucumbers take a poop, at least I think this is taking a poop, but they just sort of, they stick out their one end, and they're just like kind of like lying flat like that. They shoot their little like spouter up in the air like that, and then just literally like white strings just...
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's disgusting, and my advanced students, some of my advanced students saw that for the first time. I would say all of my advanced students.
Yeah.
I saw that for the first time. And I think it was on a night dive too, so it was just like, what is going on? But, yeah. So, he didn't know what they were, but it was still really cool to see him, and just having to pass it along, you know, just like,
continue to go, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. We didn't see anything else for the rest of the dive. At least, Great Barrier Reef-wise, you saw so many fish, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing extraordinary.
No. Well, I guess I can pass it on to... So, I had a couple challenges on this dive trip. Alright? So, like, I had some instances where I actually, like, had to help out and, like, really, like, prevent some bad from happening. First one, not so serious, then we can get into the later ones. So, I had this one guy. I finished my advanced course by this was on the last 2 days, and I had a brand new open water student that needed some, like, special attention because he just wasn't entirely getting it right. He didn't feel comfortable navigating the sites by himself. So they were like, hey, you want to do us a solid and take him on a like dive? And I was like, I got you, of course.
Yep, because you're kind of, I'm finding the same thing. You're kind of, wherever you're working, when you just start, you're their bitch.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm fine with it. I'll be a reptile bitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah. I'll take your shitty clients.
But you have to say yes to everything. There's nothing you can say no to.
No.
Which, I mean, the worst things I could have said no to is shoveling rocks. It's not really the end of the world. I'm not being treated poorly, but it's just you're not comfortable there yet.
Yeah, me saying no also has a little bit more consequences than that. Then it's like, you know, it gets put onto somebody else, and that can mess things up. But yeah, exactly. Like sometimes when, like I'm not, you know, I have the time, and they'll just be like, hey, yo, can you do this? So like this morning I was planning to like prep for my refresher course and then prep for my confined activities in the water after. And then, you know, I'm saying hi to Jacob and Lucy because they're finally there. I haven't seen them for a couple of days. And they were like, you want to clean the pool? I was like, I gotcha. Show me how it works. So grab that cart, drag it over here.
Yeah.
I had to turn on, like, It reminded me of the canister filter we had to set up for my 55-gallon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
So you know how we just like all we had to do was like put some water down that one tube.
Yeah.
So basically that's what this vacuum was. We just had to put water down the tube, and then as soon as we had that full of water, we had to grab a bucket and then pour it into the vacuum that would like pull it.
Yeah.
And we failed at that like 3 to 4 times, which took like a whole like I would say like 2 minutes each. So like we wasted like
10 minutes.
a solid 10 minutes trying to get this thing started. But yeah, so that was a pain. So, but did it. Wasn't able to clean the other one because the other course was already going by then. But yeah, they just kind of give me all this shit work, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll eat shit for a while.
Yep. I don't mind it.
Yeah, me neither.
And whenever I start to mind it, I just look around and I'm like, all right, I'm fine with this. I'm still surrounded by animals. And
exactly. It's really not that bad.
No.
So.
You get caught up with the amazing parts of an amazing job. That when something that still is amazing, but it's a little bit lower, it's like, ugh. But if you just like slow down and just like, I'm complaining about this?
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly, dude. Like, so yeah. I had this pretty big dude. He was maybe like 280 pounds, but as tall as me. Like, I would say
he was a wide fella.
Yeah, he was wide. He was a little bit shorter than me, actually. He was like maybe like 5'8", something like that. So yeah, he was wide, but he was bulky. Mm-hmm. Like he wasn't fat.
Really?
Yeah, he was just like, he was an Indian. He was like pretty built, you know. He just had like that fat muscle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When like they have that proud chest, you know. It's not belly fat. You can like tell it's like it's lean in a way, but he was just a big dude, and his buoyancy was all over the place. Mm-hmm. It was all over the place. But we first got in, and he had a GoPro, and he had a pretty long string around it. So, you know, you could just like have it and record whatever you. He just finished his open water certification. It's like one of his first like dives that he could do whatever. He doesn't have any skills to do. He's officially certified.
Yeah.
He just didn't feel comfortable navigating alone, and the instructors that did teach him, because I was teaching the advanced course, they were like, hey, he could use a little assistance on his first couple dives, you know, just because
he's a newbie. It's fine.
Yeah, he's a newbie.
Don't get everything right.
He doesn't have his buoyancy cracked down because we've been focusing on all the skills they just had to do for his course. So just like go with him. I was like, okay. And they're like, also, can't take this old lady. She's kind of having the same problems. And I was like, yeah, sure. So first thing when we get down, I'm like sort of like checking on them. Are they okay? Because we're using a line to descend. Once we get down there,
they're just falling over.
It's okay. We have another one back here.
Oh man. Oh, this was full. I had opened it on accident and it was full, and now it's got a fifth. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I'll ask you for another one when I need to. Keep talking.
Yeah, I think we have 2 more back here.
Okay, cool.
But
yeah, you have an old lady and a 280 pound built dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we go down, and I check on them. They're okay. We get to the bottom. They release the line. I go on. I swim for about 15-20 seconds through this thing we call the gates. It's one of the little like reference structures you can use on this dive point. And as soon as I'm through the gates, or like right in the middle of them, so the gates are these massive coral, like sort of pillars.
I want to go dive so bad.
Dude, it's beautiful. I'm so blessed that this is my job.
Mm-hmm. Don't you think that though, like throughout the day? Do you ever have those thoughts in the middle of a dive and you're just like,
every single time I'm on a dive. Like, there's not a dive I don't enjoy, even when I have to deal with, like, some sort of the situations that I'm about to introduce. Like, it's every single dive I'm like, I cannot believe I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
Like, I would do this for free.
Yep.
Like, even all, like, the boat work, the 14-hour days, like, I would do it all
Yeah,
in a heartbeat.
It happened. I first experienced this in Hawaii. Whenever I'd go to Kona, I'd be like, I can't believe I'm working on these roads and get to overlook the cliffs and oceans. And then it got so much better here, because just no matter what you're doing, you're just like, how in the world, how is this possible? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Like
why is it working out so well?
Yeah.
That's my question, is like, why is this
And when is it going to go to shit? Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, but everything is really working out here.
Yeah.
And I like it. And if my only stress is paying bills, great.
Well.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Sounds good. It is.
I love pizza. Frozen pizza.
Yeah.
I can live off of that.
I don't take much. I eat
seriously.
On my days off, I eat probably 2 times a day.
The most we spend on is just meat.
Yeah.
We
like
spend
protein.
We spend a lot of money on protein.
Like if we had time and money to go to the gym, we'd be built.
Yeah.
Because we eat a lot of protein.
I'm going to the gym every single time that I'm home. Once we
move out.
That would be a good plan.
So you can find a gym that's close.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But I'm going to the gym every single time that I'm home, not working.
Yeah, I might join you on that. We'll see.
Or every time I'm not on the boat.
Yeah.
Like every single day that I'm not on the boat, it's like 3 to 4.
And even when you're on the boat, do 100 push-ups.
I've got a lot of work to do on the boat, bro.
I know. I come home from work just sore, and I'm just like,
yeah, dude.
I didn't do that much.
Yeah.
At least this past week. The first few weeks I wasn't. But then on like Sunday, I moved wheelbarrows of rocks, and I haven't worked out in a long time besides my legs. Yeah. So my arms and chest were sore. And then the next day I had to do the same thing with wood chips, which are lighter than rocks. It was a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I still came home and was like, ow, this is good. And it feels so good to be sore again. It feels so good.
Yeah.
Walking upstairs and when your legs burn or your arms are sore and you're just like...
That's what I felt like when I got home from this boat trip.
Yeah.
Like, I was weak.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
Like grunting with every little movement I made. Mm-hmm. It hurt.
Yeah, but it's a good feeling. It's a good hurt.
I love it.
It's like a tattoo, which we're getting tattoos soon. I can't hold out much longer.
Dude, I don't know when I can get a tattoo. Like, this is never gonna heal. This is never going to heal. The podcast did not see this, but... So we had an incense going, okay?
Last week. Last podcast.
Did they? No, this was right before it.
Yeah. No, they didn't see it.
So, I might have mentioned it, but Jason burned the absolute crap out of me. So we had an incense going, and he saw the ash, and he was like, oh, wow. Because I think I maybe touched a little bit on the top.
Yep.
And I was just moved a little bit on the top. He was like, oh, okay, it'll be funny to flick this at him. And not knowing how incense worked, sometimes the cinders rise a little bit above the top in the ash. Yeah. And it's not just a cigarette to where it's all at the freaking center. So there was still some cinders, and he flicked it perfectly at the base to where he got every single little piece of fire to shotgun blast all over the left side of my body. So this is the only thing I have to prove it. But he got me all up on the left side of my foot, a little bit on my my left thigh, and since I dive, this is never going to heal. Okay? I just picked this scab this morning, and it was just starting to get a scab. I was just starting to get somewhere with my day off. But, so every little injury you make to me is now scarring forever.
I burned my finger if it helps.
Shut up! Your stupid little... You had it on the fingernail. On the fingernail.
It still hurts.
Shut up.
Yeah, no.
This is gonna hurt for the next 2 months.
As soon as I flicked it, I knew too, because I expected it to
because
just be
I
ash.
lit up like Northern Lights.
Because it looked like Christmas. Just sparks everywhere, and I was like,
Oh, I wish I had your POV.
It was fantastic. I was like, if it was anyone else, I would feel bad, but I was just like, this worked out so much better than I thought.
You asshole. Oh my God. Okay, just because we made this mistake before, I'm gonna make sure it's recording. Okay, we're good.
How much time are we at?
I can't see.
So Peyton's gone blind here.
There was no timer.
Alright. Okay. You had your difficult students. What was happening? What happened that was...
Wow, we got so off track
So
there.
sidetracked.
Okay. Sorry if you're at home and wondering this, but... Those are his plants. You're just gonna see a bite chunk mark out of it. He's like, okay, you guys can't do the podcast break anymore. It's just a weird shit. Okay. So, we're getting through the gates, and I'm swimming through for the first, 10, 15 seconds before I make my first check back. And I turn around, and sure enough, he's, right above me, waving his hand in front of my face. And he's pointing at his neck and stuff like that. I'm like, he's like, problem, something around my neck. And his GoPro was, wrapped around his neck, choking him out underwater, and this got his regulator, tied up into him. And I should not be laughing. This was, probably very traumatizing for this man. But his GoPro was, wrapped around his neck, and basically I had to...
Unstrangle him?
Yeah, I was like, alright, calm down. I was like, shh. I was like, calm down. I was like, let's come down to the sand. So I got him down there.
And he's just like...
He was choking. It was just all wrapped up.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, eventually I had to help him out of it. And he had to pull his regulator out because it was tied up around there because obviously it was wrapped around his neck at the start. And yeah, he was kind of freaking out about that. But then...
How did you tell him to pull his regulator out? Did you just go and just yank it out of his mouth?
No, because as soon as I untangled it, it was obvious that it was stuck between
his regulator and
his regulator and the obviously
freedom
coming off his head. So as soon as I showed him that, he was okay. He made the motion of taking it out. I was like, yeah. I was like, just pop it out, pop it back in. I was like, I'll take care of the string.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he popped out his regulator, moved it out really quick, and he just popped it back in.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, and then I hooked it onto his BCD instead. I was like, I just made a little loop around one of his shoulder straps. And I was like, here you go, and gave it back to him. I was like, you're okay? He was like, I'm good. And then we just kept going through.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he was just all over the place. But I think we got some good pictures. And the old lady has the same camera that I do. The Olympus TG6, bro. Or it might be the TG5, I'm not entirely sure because they both have the same exact housing.
Yep.
But, yeah, she had the same exact one. And when I was going to take pictures of her, besides this huge crowd of fish and this whole field of staghound coral, she's trying to explain to me. I was like, I know. I was like, I got this. So I took a couple pictures. I filmed some little videos, and yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But she was an interesting character.
Yeah. Before you go on, pass me another beer.
Because I'm not gonna let you hurt your teeth.
Only time my dad's been impressed with me.
What?
Just kidding. I won't say that. It'll damage his reputation. Psych. No, it won't. My dad's a great man. 100%. I actually mean that. Shout out. Even though you don't watch. Shout out.
We do love you, Josh.
Yep. I was just kidding. It's comedy.
You're not gonna take it as such. But no, she was a good diver. She was just in the older type, but I wouldn't say she's interesting. She was just...
Did she fit into the category of either once you go past 60, you either everything starts failing, or you just get really weird?
No, she was the type of person of like a. She reminds you like those old country grandmas, and they're just so darn sweet that you cannot hate them no matter what they do, even if like they risk your entire dream job. Like you just can't hate them.
So what did she do that risked your entire?
It wasn't that. It was just the fact that I would not say she was physically fit to dive. Like, she just like some of those like some old people need like some really special treatment on the boat, such as like helping their gear, like them get into the water and then put the gear on in the water simply because they just can't carry the tank, which is totally fine. It's that's okay. It's just like when you can't fight a current and try and get over like to us.
Bat.
Big old bat. Sounded like a helicopter. So it's just not being physically fit is a very important part of diving, because we waited on her for 20 minutes of a dive for her getting into the water.
Gee.
My other 6 students they were all in the water. We were waiting on the line, and we waited for her for like 15 minutes, I would say, while she was on the deck trying to get situated.
And you can't be mad because they know they're kind of failing too.
Yeah. She obviously knew. She gave me her apologies. That's why I said like you cannot hate her, because she was so sweet when we got back on the boat, and even when like I was able to like drag her to the current line to where she could like drag herself along. Which was a whole task, but it was totally fine. Like she was the sweetest old lady. They just could not hate. But like even though it kind of makes my job harder in a tiny bit, like I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in no way.
Because someone's gonna be doing it for you when you're 80.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not gonna be diving in a current, but then
it's
again.
Okay. No, I'll drag you along. And when I can't drag you along, you can drag me along. Yeah. And if neither of us can, I'm sorry, our wives are gonna have to take control at that point.
No, by that time we'll have some. We'll have some kids and grandchildren that can drag us along. Yeah, exactly. Our wives will be long gone by then. They will be tired of our shit.
I'm definitely gonna outlive my wife. That's one of the criteria.
How so?
I don't know if I could spend 50 years with someone and then them just die, and I have to go on with the next few years without it. So, wait, that disproves my point so much. No, I'm gonna die before my wives. I don't want to live with the pain of being a widow.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say this whole time. Yeah, I don't want to be a widow, so if you sign up to be my wife, you can email us. We'll figure it out.
You can email us.
But if you're ready,
it's not like we have multiple social medias that they can also
email jasonlarson03@gmail.com. I got you. I'll give you my Instagram for email. If you like snaps and you're fine with dying after me, will be great.
So that's my friend, everyone. He is hot and single.
And ready to mingle and die before you. Okay.
No, we're definitely dying before our wives.
We better.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I'll have my animals. If you're ready to be Jason's girlfriend and possibly future wife, you have to be not vegan. That's a main thing. Not vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free. No. We deal with our issues like normal people, and we fight through them. Okay, first step. You have to be willing to die without me. And also know, if you die before me, I will not mourn you for long because I'll still have my animals. That's the 3 criteria.
So Jason's staying single forever, everyone.
But you will be the 4th most important thing in my life. If you're good with being number 4,
oh my god, that's so true.
hit me up. I'm just kidding.
I am as well. I did not say that. So, but yes, animals are very important to us. whoever does succeed us must take care of the animals, or else we literally failed.
Yeah, someone
Because
has to take over.
if we can't convince our family that animals are important, then how do we even expect to convince the masses?
Like, Dad, you drink and smoke weed all the time and hang out with snakes. Why would I want to be like you? That's how we know we failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons there. Kidding.
Okay.
I'm still finding the guidelines for this podcast.
I know. It's very thin at this point.
So yeah.
Okay, the last two. I want severity. I want someone to almost drown. I want shaking underwater while you have to drag them.
So there. Luckily, I haven't had any of that yet.
You guys can turn this off now. It's going to be kind of low. I kind of raised the bar.
Go ahead, then.
No, go ahead.
No, eat me. Go.
Okay, so. I held an 8-foot snake this week, and it almost killed me. This is the story. I'm just kidding. I didn't almost die. I did get 2 speeding tickets in the last week, so I'm going bankrupt soon, which means I'll be homeless, which means I'll die from heroin needles. So, yeah.
It's okay, I got you.
It's okay. What are your stories? Let's make this not depressing.
The last one.
The last 2. You said there's 2 more.
No, I said there was 3.
Yeah, and you only told me 1, so what are the other 2?
GoPro.
Yeah, GoPro.
Well, she wasn't
The
really
old
a
lady?
case. Yeah, old lady. She was great, but she just
You had to drag her along like a dead rag.
just like a couple more things with like her buoyancy. Like she wouldn't like quite pay attention, and yeah, she was just up and down constantly. And I had to drag her down once, but there was this one bad time when I was doing my deep dive. So with the advanced course,
And how far is a deep dive?
30 meters. A deep dive. When you get certified to be an advanced scuba diver, you get to dive down to 30 meters maximum limit. So we went to about 29. You know, I try to get them as close as I can so I can show them true colors that disappear. Look at their deco times. That's my sign for deco. That's why I was moving my pinky. Ask them for their deco times, and then I also add a little special of bringing a bottle and seeing that crushed air. And then at the surface, blow a little bit of air in it, and then as soon as we reach the surface, it's kind of like a CO2 canister. As soon as you open it, it's like it scares the fuck out of them. It's the best.
I've never seen that. Why don't you bring down CO2 bottles?
They're not CO2 bottles.
I know, but that's what I'm going to call them. Next time I dive with you, bring down a bottle. I want to see.
Okay, fine.
Preferably Fireball, and we can finish it on the ocean
I knew,
floor.
As soon as he said bottle, I knew he was going to bring up alcohol. I knew it.
I'm not an alcoholic. Don't talk about that.
So we were on our deep dive, and we went down to 29 meters. Everything was fine. Showed them the colors, showed them the bottle, asked for their deco times. We started shallowing up. And since it was a pretty short dive, because, you know, your air compresses and you breathe through your air a lot quicker, somebody was already at, I believe, 110 bar. And you get a max of 200, but they already sucked through about 90 bar in, I would say, 5 to 6 minutes that it took for us to get down there.
Jeez.
Just because, you know, that pressure is pretty ridiculous. Again, it's just pure, not oxygen, but pure air. Air is 21% oxygen.
You can feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And if you're equalizing, then you have to breathe. If you equalize, you have to breathe. And so I equalize a lot. I'm pretty good at my breathing, so I've dove probably 30 meters, I think, in Mexico. Maybe it was 80 feet.
Yeah,
So,
we definitely broke some laws in Mexico.
Yep, for sure.
I think everyone does.
But, I mean, your air does go by faster, but if you're not I'm not even an experienced diver. If you haven't done it for a little bit, to like maybe multiple locations where you've done it, you've taken the break and then gone back, you suck through that air
Yeah.
Like when me and your dad first started, we were always the reason that we had to go up.
Yep.
And then on this last, when my dad was here, usually my dad was the lowest. And he wasn't the reason we had to go up, but I was still keeping up very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're pretty good at conserving your air and stuff like that.
But it takes a few times. It takes,
no, it definitely takes some warming up.
Yep.
And yeah. So I just can't wait till the time where I can actually like really conserve my air and go on like hour and a half dives.
Yeah, but they don't even allow it on these boats, right? It's
They
like
don't.
50 minutes.
Yeah, 50 minutes, max an hour.
Yeah.
If you're the first in, last out.
Yeah.
And like, you know, time it perfectly. So yeah, it is what it is. So I just wanna find somewhere, get my own little like crew, go out, just dive to the absolute max.
Yeah.
Like, you know, still do like 4 or 5 dives a day, stay down for the absolute max we can, make sure we surface interval right. And yeah, that's all I want. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that would be a blast.
That would be a dream right there.
But your worst experience with your student?
Yeah, so we were on a deep dive, and so you take on a good amount of nitrogen when you go down, and so we start coming up, and you know somebody already has 90 bars, so we go immediately to the safety bar to do our 3-minute safety stop and just end the dive. So we start surfacing up, we go with the reef, so they have a bit of a visual reference, not just the deco bars. They can sort of gauge their rising and sinking. And one of my students, another older lady, not as old as the last one, but you know, definitely on the 60-70 spectrum. Last one was maybe low 70s, definitely in 70s. So this other one was a little bit younger, and she just never had her weight belt on tight enough, so it was like flinging all around her body. And I fixed it twice, but you know, she must have like kept loosening it because maybe I put it on a little too tight, but I don't think I did. So it could have just been, you know, like a messed up belt. So as soon as we started surfacing, you know, taking it nice and slow, and we get to the deco bar, and then I just see her just start like shooting up as soon as we get close. Like, she's not deflating her BCD, she's just floating. So I have to like bolt up. I heard my ears a little bit. Like, I honestly didn't know how I felt about diving the next dive because, you know, like, I kind of hurt my ears pretty bad, and I don't know if I like really messed them up, so I don't know if I want to dive, but I just toughed it out and went anyway. But I had to like shoot up, like past all my students that were already on a deco bar, grab her, fully deflate my BCD, and drag her down.
Jeez.
And like, yeah, that was on a deep dive, so if she like fully surfaced right there without doing her safety stuff, like, that could have been difficult. And we were also like right under the boat, so she would have hit that boat first, and then, you know, got DCS or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a little scary.
I bet.
But yeah, it was manageable. That's what we deal with.
Yeah.
That's what we do as instructors.
Yeah.
We save lives.
I think the worst thing that happened to me was my scratch on my arm.
Yeah.
That was it. But
It's pretty gnarly though.
yeah, it's definitely gonna scar. I kind of like my little monitor scars. I have some down this arm now, and this arm's gonna scar because I took one of the parentes out just because my ego was boosted because like 10 minutes before that, Michael came to me and was like, "I'm really impressed with what you're doing. Like, good job." He told me he was impressed like with what I was doing, and he also told me that they're gonna consider like Matt's trying to talk to everyone to get him on board with target training and like figure that out, which was my idea when I first got there on like the first day, which was really good to hear. So my ego was up here, and I'd already talked to him, and I was like, I really want to bring these parentes out of their cage. I want to let them run around. I was like, I'm gonna buy a harness this week when I'm off, which I need to do, so I can walk them around and just get them somewhere else, but I can control them. He was like, well, they can't get under the racks. There's that wood there. And I looked under, and sure enough, there was wood there. So I took the monitor out, and I sat it down, and he was outside watering plants. And I took her out, and she kind of freaked out when I grabbed her, but since I, like, brought her down in a safe manner, she, like, ran off and was having just a blast, just walking around, smelling everything, climbing around. And then I saw, like, right up here, just like a little corner with a big dark shadow. So I was like, oh shit, I thought I checked everything, but I didn't check that back corner. So I got up and I ran around the other side of the rack to look. And sure enough, halfway through the rack, there's like a bar here. But if that parentheses were to like wedge itself in there, it would have been a mission to get it out. Because its arms would have been like it could pin it. It would have been doable, but it would have caused so much stress to the animal. It would not have been a big deal health-wise, but a lot of the work that I've already done could have been lost, like in an instant, because I would have had to just drag this lizard out by her tail, and it just would have been super bad. So I see her, and she's going towards it, and I give her a little bit of space, and then she kind of crosses the line where I'm comfortable with, where she's sniffing around, and they're so intelligent. She'll find that spot really quickly, and she might feel comfortable in there and just kind of sleep there, and then I'm in a pinch. So I got up and walked around. I had been sitting, and since I stood up, she had never seen me just stand straight up. I'm 5'9", this lizard's maybe 3 inches off the ground, and it's used to just seeing like my chest and neck area. It's used to seeing like a foot and a half of me, and now it's going to see the like complete rest of me. And so it freaked out. And as soon as it's climbing up the cage, I was like sort of letting it go, and then I saw Michael look in, and I was like, all right, I have to grab this monitor now. I can't just let it do its thing. So I grabbed it by the tail and just picked it up and just carried it into the air. And by then, since I had picked it up, I could feel the claws in my arm, and I was like, I was holding it up, I was like, you're in the air, calm down, calm down, calm down. Like I was talking to it like a dog, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to bring you down because you're scratching the shit out of me. I just said that like word for word. Then I looked down, and both of the cage doors are closed. And this lizard goes probably like her head here, her tail all the way up here. This is a big lizard. Holding it with one hand means you have to restrain it. Like, you have to put a little bit of pressure there. You're not going to balance this lizard on your hand. You have to hold it. Yeah. And monitors hate that because they can't move. They feel like something's grabbing them. But I have to do it to open the cage. So as soon as I drop this hand, I add a little bit of pressure. I'm not squeezing the shit out of it. Just enough to make her freak out. So she starts freaking out and just clawing at my arm. And I can feel them, like, going in and just tearing. Like, I could, like, feel... It reminded me of like when I cut my finger, and I could just feel like the skin just like, and I was like, oh. So I like squeezed and I held her still. So like her bottom legs could not move. They were just dug into my hand, like my arm, and I held her. So only her front things were moving, and she wasn't scratching with it. She was trying to get to the top of the rack. So I open the cage and I swing her around like really quickly, and put her in, and then I have to release the pressure, and that's when she just. And then just like ran, just like moved her legs back to grip something and just ran, and that's when it'll cut me.
Damn.
And then she went off. I shut the cage, and I could care less about my arm. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, that lizard. I'm gonna have no trust with it. Like I just lost everything that I've been building. Then Michael was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. I'm good. And then, like maybe 15 minutes later, he came in. And he just opened the cage on his own, and they came up and sniffed him. And I stayed back because I was like, I don't know how they're going to feel about me anymore. I stuck my hand in. It smelled it. It was definitely very hesitant when I went to go pet it. But after I started petting it for a little bit, it was back to normal. I knew it was back to normal because it, like, stood up. It came around, like, to me. It usually doesn't. It kind of, like, stood up. And I started rubbing its belly. And... it jumped and cleared my entire arm and just landed on my shoulder and just chilled there. And it was the most relieving feeling ever. Because I was like, okay, they don't care. It was a thing. Maybe when I go to pick her up again, she's going to freak out a little bit, but it's just repairable. And I had talked to Michael after it because I felt bad because I was like, I feel bad for like stressing out an animal. You don't want to stress out an animal. This kind of looks bad on me. And he was like, no, when you start to handle, and I brought up the point, I was like, I mean, it sucks, but it makes sense that the first time it's handled, it's going to freak out. And he was like, yeah, of course, that's part of it. She's going to freak out a little bit until she gets used to it. Like, and he was I'm not going to say he didn't care about the animal, but he was definitely more worried about me and my arm, which was not bad. It's a scratch. I was telling my parents I'd rather get scratched by a monitor this bad than be food bitten by a blackhead again. Which is weird because you only get holes in your hand from a blackhead and they heal immediately.
Yeah.
And a monitor, you're scabbed up and you're going to get scars and everything.
Yeah, for real.
But I don't know. It's easier for me to deal with a scratch pain than it is for me to deal with a bite. Like, I realized I hate getting bitten by snakes. And I don't know what it is. I'm good at avoiding it, but like I can't be that guy who just sticks his hand into a cage, and if it bites him, it bites him. I have to approach everything kind of safely so that I don't get bit. And I don't understand why, because I'll go and pick up monitors that scratch the shit out of me, and then go do it again the next day, and be like, okay, it is what it is. It's claws. It's not. I don't know what it is, but he seemed more worried about me than he did about the lizard, because the lizard was fine. It didn't get hurt.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing happened. It got a little enrichment, but yeah, it's completely fine now. I can't wait to see it on Sunday and just see. And I can't wait to start doing the same thing with the lace monitors. I think I'm going to pick up a lace monitor this week. It's kind of my goal, because I've got them to be okay with me petting them, but I haven't picked them up yet. And the parentes won't let me pet their face or neck, but I can grab the lace monitors like this and like just like pet their chin and their head, and they don't care. They kind of just sit there, which is awesome. So I think I'm going to try to pick them up this week. We'll see.
So hopefully by the next podcast,
I'll be handling lace monitors and maybe have scratches on my arm again. We'll see.
we shall see. We shall hope.
Is that a praying mantis? Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
That's a praying mantis.
Yo!
Yes.
Yeah, it's on you.
I got it. So we got a praying mantis. I don't know if you can see that.
Move a little bit to the left. A little bit more. Oh, I can't really see it.
Sorry, podcasters, but a praying mantis is very cool. Okay, I'm going to hold it way out here. Can you see this on my finger?
No, it looked good when you had it in here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me when.
Move it to your right.
Right.
It's like it's very far on the frame because I can't really see it, but yeah, they can see it.
Cool.
Now tilt it a little bit. No, other way. Other direction. There you go. So, praying mantis.
Yeah, very cool. Gonna take a picture on your phone for my animal Instagram. I need my animal of the day. Go follow JBL Critters and Creatures and all of our other Instagrams, but
You gotta get my dogs in it, bro.
no, I'm covering them. Don't worry.
I want
That's
my
so
dogs.
cool.
It's just a little baby.
I know. Alright. What's up?
Yeah.
No, it's,
So, yeah, it's going on.
it's in the grass now. But, wow. That was cool.
You never know in Australia.
No.
Never know. I still think the coolest insect we found was that gigantic
Stick insects?
stick insect, dude.
That thing was sick.
Coolest thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that topped the pufferfish we saw while snorkeling,
hmm
but that was close.
Yeah, it was
close.
a very cool insect.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was just literally like, it was literally like that big.
And it's nerve-wracking to hold, because
Yeah.
even if you know for a fact that they don't bite, while you're holding that, you're just like, what if? What if they're wrong?
Exactly. Like, what if the dude just has an inkling?
Yeah,
I want flesh.
yeah.
Just
Right.
like that.
It was
That
very
would
cool.
hurt.
hmm
I don't know what kind of teeth they have, but I know they can cut through veggies, and fleshy ain't stronger than veggie.
Yeah, it's not stronger than a leaf. I mean, they could gnaw at us pretty well if they're...
His butt.
I think. Maybe, but I could be wrong. I have no idea.
About what?
Stick insects. I don't know if they could gnaw through our flesh.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I have no idea. We gotta do our research. We should have looked at the chompers on that thing. Definitely some spider skin.
I do love the spiders here.
The spiders
love
are
them.
amazing. Like all of them, like the black and the yellows and the oranges.
And then they're huge wolf spiders. I think they're actually huntsmen. I think that's what they're called. Which just have those super high whites. Like that huge one I found at work. I think I showed you the picture.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we saw a couple of those while we was out, right?
Yeah, but none of that size.
Yeah. I think you'll see that one.
Yeah, everything here is gorgeous.
Yeah, seriously. Everything.
I saw the fattest bumblebee I've ever seen today. It was like that big.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was huge.
Sure it wasn't a cicada, no?
No, because it had the yellow and black stripes, and the wings sounded different. And it just flew around for a little bit and then flew away, like a bee does.
That big.
That big, yeah. It was massive. It was so much bigger than Colorado bumblebees.
That's bigger than any bumblebee in the world. Are you sure bumblebees get that big? You sure it wasn't a butter dragon?
I know it was a bee. My size could be wrong, but I know it was at least twice the size of the United States bumblebees that we see. It was huge. It made those seem like a regular bumblebee.
Jeez.
It might not have been that big, because that is big looking at it, but maybe that big?
I want one.
Yeah, it was adorable to watch fly around.
What kind of insects would you keep?
Maybe honeybees, but I don't love the idea of being swarmed by bees, even though I'm okay with them. So I don't know about, like, caretaking of a beehive. I don't know what kind of maintenance that is. I would keep them if I could leave them alone and let them do their thing. Like, that would be cool. Praying mantis and stick insects.
Yep.
For sure. I do want to get...
got a tattoo of a...
Yeah, I do have a tattoo of praying mantis. They're sick. I would keep spiders. I think spiders are awesome.
Spiders.
I want to keep some tarantulas. Definitely some golden orb weaver spiders, because those things were sick.
So cool. I always think of Treasure Planet when I see a golden orb weaver.
I think of Virginia. When we went to visit Scott Osborne's house in Virginia, and in their backyard they had that golden orb weaver.
That's true.
That's where my mind always goes.
Yeah. Mine goes to Treasure Planet because of the big bad guy. The guy that seems like a scorpion, but I swear to God he's a golden orb weaver.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
And then that one bug that's like a scorpion and a spider put together. You know what I'm talking about? It's I don't remember what it's called.
Was it in the Harry Potter?
No, it's an actual thing. It has the body of a roach. Without the wings. Just like this weird for some reason I want to say it's vinegar something, but a vinegaroon. Yes. Those things. They have the body of a roach without the wings and little pinchers like a scorpion. Let me see if it's the same thing I'm thinking of.
Vinegaroon?
Yeah. Yes, those. I was right. I want to keep those.
Wow, those are cool.
Yeah, and slightly terrifying, but awesome.
Oh, absolutely. If they were like
if they were crawling around,
if they were 5 times bigger, I'd kill myself right after birth.
Yeah.
Okay, luckily I could still
look up vinegaroons while he's doing this, because you won't be disappointed. They're awesome.
Literally vinegar. That's what it's. Vinegaroon. There you go.
They're awesome. I've seen a couple on Scales and Tails.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I want one.
Yeah. They're sick.
I'll get you one first, though. For homage.
Yeah, but from what I remember from them, they don't sting. They can only pinch.
So yeah, they got some nasty pinches on them.
But from what I've heard, they're not that bad. Like, they can't really... They look so much worse than they are.
It's always the scary guys that can't do much.
Mm-hmm. Like, their pinchers aren't going to break skin. Or really, it's going to be like a green anole biting you.
Really?
Like, just a little bit of pressure, I would think. I mean, getting around a finger is a lot. And those pinchers, they're big for its body, but they're not big. They're not like a huge desert scorpion. Or an emperor scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
But,
yeah,
and I could be wrong about all of that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
So pretty close to the guys. Should have got that off first, but they look pretty close to the guys that were in Harry Potter. Those are an actual bug, though, right? You know which bug I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
The guy that they did the, I forgot which spell, but the transformation spell.
I don't remember it.
Well, it was a certain like type of thing that turned into their deepest and darkest fears. And
I remember that movie.
Was it the Goblet of Fire?
I don't remember.
No, it was not.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't. I know the movie you're talking about, but I can't remember the specific scenes in it.
Yeah, so basically for one of the students, the deepest and darkest fears was this J. No, it wasn't. It was, when the dude with the Popeye, like, you remember he had that, like, eye monocle?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, like, it was, like, squishing his face and stuff like that, and he was teaching Neville the Crucio spell, and basically the Crucio spell is like a torture spell, and uses it on the spider that's actually a real spider. Let me look it up for the
I need to see a picture of this, because I'm not remembering it.
I don't know if it's a spider, but hold on.
Search Harry Potter insect.
I'm literally, yeah, exactly.
See, same fucking page.
Okay, yeah. So wow. Amplipigid. Ampligid? The Mexican tailless whip scorpion is so cool. Bro, scroll. Those things are so cool.
Oh yeah, I know what this is. Let me see if I can show the picture. Can you see that?
Well, our praying
cool.
mantis is back.
Bro, he's on the light.
He's on the light.
I love praying mantis.
Me too. So
yeah, these guys are cool too. I do want one.
So you can get that other guy. I'll get this guy.
Yeah.
Because
That works.
he is dope. Dude, those pincers are literally like hammerhead pincers.
Yeah.
They're going so far out on his body. I wonder if they're herbivores. Bro, look at that. That's terrifying.
It reminds me of the freshwater prawns that just have those super long pincers for whatever reason.
That's so good, actually. Oh, I want one now. I really, really want one. They're probably expensive, though. Do I care? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Parentis in the United States, guess how much they go for?
I don't even want to guess.
$50,000 to $60,000.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Dude, we gotta start doing some legal stuff.
I would tell him that too. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we could start making some.
They're just not in the United States. And they're one of the smartest monitors.
So, I don't know how much longer this podcast or YouTube channel will be going. Me and Jason have some other business ideas that could give us profit.
We might lose everything, but we'll be with Parentis.
Exactly. We'll be with Parentis.
And vinegaroons and tailless whip scorpions.
Living our dreams.
Yep. But, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. You good?
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Why'd I do that?
Love you guys.